tell you guys. 3. Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to Leave Reviews. I'm Charlene. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button. So I just want to say, Charles, can you please be nicer to Angela? Please be nicer to Angela. Like, her trying to show you affection at dinner and you just giving these kind of dry answers. You don't want to give the good lady a kiss. Can you be a little bit nicer to her? It's a little cringy to watch. And we would like to see a little bit more affection. But hey, if Angela loves it, I like it. Or is it, if she likes it, I love it. I mean, yeah, if she likes it, I love it, okay? So, Angela's talking to Charles about the situation with her sister. Charles basically, like, he just basically said some real shit. I feel like he said anything, I feel like, that most people would say. If people are taking advantage of the person that you are, the things that you're given, then you have to let them go. It doesn't matter if they're family, friend, coworker, child, whatever. I know it's hard, but, you know, if somebody is using you, like Angela expressed that her sister does, then it's time to get up out of there. Can I just say, Angela really is a bad woman. Angela really is she's beautiful. You know, I know she got a couple of things done to her face, whatever, surgery-wise, but I still think that she's a very pretty woman. I am interested to know what her exact age is because I did Google her and then it just said that she was born in May, but it doesn't say the year. And the reason why I'm saying that is because later on in the episode, Angela had a meetup with her mom and the mom was basically like, oh, you know, I didn't like how he disrespected you. That's why we haven't talked in 3 years. But I like him and hopefully that we can reconnect. Basically, that's what she said. But she also said something that was interesting to me as well. She said, yeah, I don't like his age. Basically trying to insinuate that like Charles is like so much older than Angela. And to me, I don't think Angela looks old, but I didn't think that Angela was so much so younger than Charles that her mother would feel some type of way about the age difference, so much so that she felt the need to bring it up. So I thought that was a little odd, but nonetheless, Angela, I think she's very beautiful. Moving along to Drew, you know, like I've said before in previous videos, I'm not really into Drew's storyline like that, but nonetheless, she's here, so we got to talk about her. You know, she's going through this divorce with her soon-to-be ex-husband, Ralph. It seems like, you know, he's playing the game. You know, he wants to get her lawyer removed. He wants half of her money. She wants the divorce files sealed. And I guess during this episode, Drew had expressed that the judge had actually reopened their case. Like he or she unsealed it. And now I guess it's open for public consumption. My question is, Drew, if Ralph did you so wrong, and you're so innocent, like, why are you fighting so hard for the files to be concealed? Ralph clearly was the one who was a cheater. He was the one going out of state. He was the one asking for open relationships and is now harassing you and drawing out the divorce. I would be like, please open up the records. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, open up the records. Like, please see how this guy is treating me. But she wants to hold something so close. She doesn't want things revealed. And it's interesting to me because we all know that Drew and Ty have been linked with some type of romantic situation. And that is according to Ming over there on Basketball Wives. Ming didn't like the fact that Ty and Drew Sidora used to be on the phone for hours upon hours upon hours upon hours. What are y'all talking about? But it's interesting. Drew, what do you want to not be exposed so bad? Because clearly Ralph don't care. You know, he know he a dog. He know he ain't shit. But what's going on with you? So I guess we shall see. As far as Drew's mom is concerned, you know, Drew, of course your kids are going to be a little bit different within the dynamic that you and your husband are going through because you guys are going through a divorce. What I'm not understanding is why she's so shocked that her mother is telling her, hey, I've noticed a difference in your kids and how they act. And it's probably tied to the fact that you and your husband are going through a divorce and you guys are separated. And Drew's crying and she wants to walk away and she wants to act like she's so delusional. And it's just like, what did you think? Like, did you think that the kids were completely normal and that they wouldn't see what's going on? Kids are very, very smart. And you should know that, because when you think back to how you were as a kid, when I think back to how I was as a kid, I'm like, damn, when I was 6 years old, I noticed this. Or when I was 8 years old, I noticed this. Like, you might not say anything. You might not, vocalize it. It might be expressed in other ways. But as a child, like, you weren't dumb. So it's just like the children that you have with your husband, all those kids know are you and him together. So the fact that you guys have been living the way that you guys have been living for so long, it's common sense that the kids would notice that. So I don't know if Drew was trying to deflect, or if she was just trying to end the scene because she didn't want to be embarrassed or whatever. But it's a little delusional for me, Drew, that you just thought that your kids, who I believe are both over the age of 5, wouldn't notice that mommy and daddy aren't together anymore. You know what I mean? Like, stop being delusional. Stop trying to, like, live in some fairy tale world, and work with your kids and talk to your kids and cultivate an environment where, they feel comfortable with asking questions, and you are explaining what's going on, obviously to their level of understanding based on their age. But don't keep them in a loop, because confusion is never a good thing. So when kids are confused, that's why they're acting out. That's why your mother is saying that they don't listen. They're out of control. I've noticed a difference, because they're probably confused, because they notice what's going on. 1 + 1 is equaling 2, but nobody's saying anything. Everybody's acting like it's normal. So that's confusing. And I feel like it doesn't matter if it's a child, an adult, anything. When people are confused, everything's going to be out of whack. So that's all I have to say with Drew. But it's like, girl, please stop crying. Kelly, I like Kelly. I feel like people talk shit. Like, they're like, oh, Kelly's this, Kelly's that, blah, 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 blah. But I think she's absolutely adorable. I think she's funny. Even though Kelly doesn't necessarily have a lot going on. We don't really know too much about her ex-husband. We don't really know too much about her family too much. But the scenes that she does give us are funny. I loved watching the scene where she's in the car trying to teach her daughter how to drive, and she's screaming. And, it seems like her and her daughter have a really good, relationship or whatever. And her daughter feels comfortable with being herself around Kelly. So I like Kelly. I don't know what the beef is with Kelly, but it is what it is. Shamea, okay, hold on, wait. Before I get into Shamea, is there anybody else I want to talk about? Okay, Portia. I guess Portia was saying that she met with Angela, and she met with some of the other ladies, and Portia was talking about how her daughter, Pilar, was like, oh, I miss Pop, which is Simon, her husband, who she was married to for 15 months. Her husband, who she was with for a year and a half, not even a year and a half. Girl, stop. Like, girl, damn well you did not love that man. But whatever. This is what, at least in this scene, Portia's giving us something. Portia's not really giving us much for her, I guess, to kind of be like the anchor of the show. Or, I don't know if she or Shamea was fighting for that. Not fighting, but not competing. I don't want to see, but kind of, I don't know if their storylines were kind of going back and forth with each other to win out who was going to be the anchor. But Portia's not giving. So at least, I guess this is something she's giving us. But like I said, her daughter, said that she missed Simon, and Portia reached out to Simon, and Simon left her on red. I mean, you know what I mean? I don't think Portia's relationship with Simon was ever about love. I think it was all about resources. I think Simon looked at Portia as benefits that he can get from her, and obviously Portia did as well. So all this fake crying and emotional shit and involving the daughter to try to like get sympathy points is just kind of whack to me, because I just don't think it was real, and I'm not like buying it, to be honest. So that's just me. Britt, nothing. Britt gives us nothing. I don't know. She's in the house with her husband. She's getting ready to go somewhere. Oh, they're going to a wedding. They're getting ready to go to a wedding. And that's good for her. Like I mentioned slightly earlier, Angela meets up with her mom, and she's like, Mom, like, are you ever going to make up with Charles? Blah, 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 blah. And she's just like, I just felt like he disrespected my child. You know how black mothers are. But, they also started to get into her sister. Angela and her sister have a very strained relationship. They don't talk. She can't even say her sister's name on the show. So they don't talk. They're not in a good space. And, what I found interesting is that Angela was saying, you know, when Angela's sister and her daughter had got into it, and Angela felt like her sister disrespected her daughter for no reason, Angela was talking to her mother and saying, I felt like you didn't stand up for my daughter. You know, why would you let my sister talk to my daughter like that? Yeah, my daughter is the younger one in the scenario, but she's still a grown woman. She's 24 years old. You know, me personally, I feel like after you at 25 and up, you're grown. Like, you're still in your 20s, so you're still technically young. But I feel like once you hit 25, all that, oh, I'm young, I'm dumb, I'm inexperienced, I don't know. You grown. And, you know, at 25 and beyond, you are grown, you know. So her daughter's 24, you know what I'm saying? So I get her daughter being younger, but if somebody's being disrespected, especially the younger one, who could kind of be maybe a little docile in how they approach the older person, why would you not defend my daughter? And what Angela said is that it reminded her of all the times in the past when her mother did not stand up for her. And I was just like, you know, here's the thing I feel like with these shows. I don't really care about the drama between Angela and Portia, and really honestly Shamea and Portia, because we've been seeing it slowly unravel for years now. But I don't even care. I want to know about the tea with the sister and the mama back in Chicago, because when you say little things like, you didn't defend my daughter against my sister, and it brought back all of these thoughts and feelings and emotions from when you didn't defend me in the past. So what are you saying? Are you saying that the dynamic was maybe your mother favored your older sister? You know what I mean? And kind of had her back a little bit more than you? Do you think she had your back more than she? Like, is it a competition thing going on? Do you guys have different dads? Because sometimes, you know, not saying it's right or wrong, but I feel like men and women will treat their child different based on who the other parent is. Like, if you have a baby mama that you can't mother and stand, you feel like she set you up, you might not be as favorable to that child versus the child with the person that you really love and you fell in love with. You get what I'm saying? And vice versa with the sexes. So is it a dynamic like that? Like, I want to get into that shit. I don't give a damn about Angela and Shamea arguing. With that being said, let's just get into Shamea and Portia. Now, I'm getting worn down. I'm tore up, worn down. Is that the lyric to the song? Oh my gosh. I'm trying, but I feel like as time goes on and on, I'm slowly but surely getting wheelchaired into the auntie community. Because what the hell? I don't even be knowing lyrics anymore. But anyway, on to Shamea and Portia. Like I said the last video, and like I will continue to say, I don't think that Portia, at least from what we see, does not come off as a genuine, loyal friend to Shamea. She just doesn't. I don't care what happens behind the scenes, because I'm not behind the scenes. I'm in front of the scenes. So I just can go by what we have shown, the after shows and social media, what they post on social media, you know? And from what I see with my two big ass eyes is that Shamea has always seemed like more of a ride or die to Portia than Portia has to Shamea. What I will say is that I understand, I'm not going to sit here and throw Portia all the way up under the bus. I do understand what Portia is saying. It's like, I thought you and I were good, you know? And then meanwhile, back at the ranch, I have people telling me that you're having conversations about our friendship and they're not so favorable. That can be hurtful. You understand what I'm saying? So I understand Portia's part in that sense. Why are you talking to Jim and Samantha about issues and emotions that have to do with me and you? That does not make any sense. So I understand that. However, this episode proved why Shamea does that. When they finally sat down for the final scene of this episode, and Shamea was in front of Portia at the dinner table, and she's trying to talk to her and trying to have a moment, and Portia was just blowing her off, acting like she couldn't be bothered, acting like she didn't want to be there, saying it was a lot, saying she's going through a lot. So it's just like, you complain on one hand and say, you should have came to me. You should have had that conversation with me. And then when I come to you with the problem, you're like, I just don't have time. Like, this is too much. Like, make it make sense. I feel bad for Shamea. I really do, because I feel like she really does value Porsha's relationship. And I don't agree with what Angela says when Angela says, oh, I think Shamea is just putting on for the cameras because Shamea doesn't give me that she's a person that is easily pushed around. And I totally agree. But two things can exist at the same time. You can totally be a person with a strong personality and a person that nobody can push over, while at the same time having certain bonds with people that allow that make you want to maybe walk on eggshells. You can very much be a strong ass person, a strong-willed person, and not let nobody boss you around and mess with you, while also maintaining relationships with family members, friends, relationship, love partners. You can be a strong person and still feel like, damn, like, I feel like I can't talk to this person. Like, I feel like, I can't really be myself with this person. Like, but two things can exist at the same time. So I just think Porsha proved exactly Shamea's point. What I will say is, do I think Shamea was just going around being like, yeah, like, oh, like, Porsha's not a bad friend. Porsha's ain't shit. Porsha ain't come to my wedding, blah, 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 blah. No, I don't. I think as filming was happening, this is what I'm going to tell you. This is exactly what happened. I may be wrong, but this is exactly what I think in my mind happened. The girls started filming the show. Porsha walked up in Shamea's birthday party, right in the middle of her getting her $400,000 gift, basically trying to orbit around Porsha's spotlight. It was supposed to be her spotlight, but she walks right into the middle of it. So that was kind of like, oh, like, that's your friend. Like, why wouldn't you let her have her moment? So that was thing number one. Then Shamea is playing her music, and Porsha's like, oh, no, that's not Shamea. That's Drew. That's not Drew. I mean, that's not Shamea. That's Drew. And you can even tell for a slight minute, Shamea was like, girl, just hush, just listen. Because I felt like if the roles were reversed, Shamea would have been like, yes, boy, that's my girl's song. Like, can't you hear? She can sing. But when Shamea was playing her song, Porsha was like, oh, yeah, that's not even her. That's Drew. So that's that. They show multiple clips in the show of Angela saying, I hope that Porsha's giving you the same energy. Of even Britt saying, I don't know. I think Porsha was throwing shade, whatever way it might have you. And so what I think happened is, as they're filming the show and all of these things are happening, and Shamea is like Porsha's cutting off Shamea and not showing her much support with her music and walking into her moments and over talking her, and the other castmates are noticing it. So the other castmates are like, girl, why Porsha treating you like that? You know what I mean? Or whatever. And maybe Shamea started the conversation based on these things that were happening right now on the show. I feel like a lot of people in the comments are like, Shamea's bringing up stuff from 10 years ago. No, I think that stuff from 10 years ago came up based on what was happening during the filming this season. When you have a friend that's not supporting you, being weird towards you, and, not supporting you, it brings up all the times in the past when they did the same thing to you. So I don't think she's like bringing up shit from the past. No, it's shit that was happening right then and there that Shamea was bringing up. It wasn't shit from the past. And some people are saying, oh, like she wait to bring it on the show, blah, 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 blah. Like, clearly they've talked about issues concerning these matters before in the past, because Porsha's like, we've already talked about this. We've already da-da-da-da-da. So that clearly shows Shamea and Porsha have talked about issues within their relationship in the past, and it had nothing to do with the show. So I don't think that Shamea is just doing it now just for the show. Like, no, I don't. I think that Shamea is on a reality TV show, and she said something about Porsha based on what Porsha was doing during the filming that Shamea noticed, as well as the other girls. She doing some other stuff that happened in the past, and Portia found out about it on the show. So they have to talk about it on the show. That's what they get paid, hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of dollars for 4 months of work. That's why they get paid that much. So when things like friendship arguments or husband disputes or issues with your children, they kind of leave the children out of it, but with your mom or with your dad, that's what they pay you for. So when these issues arise, they film it. Or even when good things happen, they film it. So I don't think that Shamea is just bringing it on the show. I think shit was happening. She had the conversation with Angela. Angela brought it on the show. Kelly told Shamea, and now it's out. So we're talking about it because it's something that's happening right now as we're filming. So I don't know. I just, I think sometimes, sometimes friendships change. Like, even if you've known somebody for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, like, people change, situations change, circumstances change, and it doesn't mean that it's beef. It just means it might be time to move on. I think the type of person that Portia is and the type of person that Shamea is, it used to be fine back in the day, but the way that their lives are just going, it's just, and it's not necessarily that they're, bad, even though I don't really fuck with Portia like that, but it doesn't mean that they're bad. It just means that the relationship, they're just not seeing eye to eye, and that, it just is what it is. But again, similar to what I said about Angela and her mom and her sister, we need to get into that tea with Miss Diane and Shamea's mom. What's the Underground Railroad 265-day-a-year tea on Miss Diane and Shamea's mom? That's the tea we really need to get into. Why did they fall out? When did they fall out? Did you and Portia stop talking for a little bit and then come back together after that? I don't care about Portia not going to Shamea's wedding. I want to know what happened between the mamas. And then to see if there's any trickle down effect. Like, come on, let's get really into the meat and potatoes of the situation. That's all I have to say. And thank you for tuning into my video. Like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, deuces.
Oh! Shout out to everybody. I had fun. I gotta be good.